Well, if you've been wondering where to look to grab the best meal in New South Wales, look no further. The annual Delicious 100 awards have dropped, revealing the top restaurants across the state. Restaurants differing in price, location and cuisine have been ranked, with Delicious highlighting the best 100 dining experiences. Joining me now live to discuss the outcomes is Delicious restaurant critic Anthony Huckstep. Anthony, great to see you. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Firstly, Italian restaurant Alberto's Lounge has taken out the blue ribbon for the best restaurant in New South Wales. Tell us what made this restaurant so special.
Well, they took us by surprise. It's by a group that have another restaurant called Hubert, which also was a restaurant Sydney needed that arrived a couple of years ago. But Alberto's really encapsulates what these awards are about. And it's not about the posher, really expensive restaurants, although some of them are in this list. It's about the best restaurants, the ones that make us feel great after we've left and we can't wait to go back. And Alberto's really captures that. From the moment you walk in, you're sort of swept into this new world. You could be in any city in the world, and it's accessible to everyone. It's not very expensive, and the staff are probably having as much fun as you are. And the food is just unpretentious, beautiful Italian, and it's just a really good time. And every time I've eaten there, I just can't wait to go back.
It certainly looks delicious by those photos there. Anthony, which restaurants followed after Alberto's Lounge?
Well, our top 5 was a real mix of sort of that top end and sort of really accessible restaurants as well. You've got Alberto's Lounge at 1. Key, one of Australia's most famous restaurants, came in at number 2. Beautiful, looking over Sydney Harbour there. Peter Gilmore's food is exquisite. And following that, we had some pretty amazing restaurants in Momofuku Siobo, Cirrus, which is an amazing seafood restaurant down at Barangaroo, and also St. Peter, another seafood restaurant. And that kind of really, 2 seafood restaurants in the top 5. Now, our love for seafood has really risen a lot in the last 2 years, and our interest, and I think that's also to do with healthy eating. But seeing 2 in the top 5 is pretty amazing.
Take us through some of the categories that the judges decided upon.
Yeah, we realised that, traditionally restaurant lists are about that sort of pointier end of the spectrum where it's, $300 a head to dine at. And we realised the best restaurants aren't necessarily those restaurants. And so, along with having a list of a real mixed bag of all sorts of restaurants, we've also got categories and awards like Best Family Friendly, which went to Bondi Trattoria, which is just so much fun there, and it's great for children. They take the kids' menu as seriously as the adults' menu. You have Best Vegetarian, which is yellow in Potts Point, which is just absolutely stunning. You wouldn't, if you're a meat eater, you wouldn't know it. If you ate there, it's just absolutely beautiful food. And we've had Best Italian, Best French. There's all sorts of categories there because we all go out for different reasons. And I think people can get what they want from this list and then go out and have a really good time.
And what about the Best Chef of the Year category? Take us through that.
Yeah, well, it's a chef called Brent Savage, and he's actually got 4 restaurants on the list. And the reason that we've given it to Brent is because all of his restaurants are have such different identities. You have Cirrus, which came in at number 3, which is a seafood restaurant down on the water at Barangaroo, and the food is just absolutely delightful. You have their fine dining restaurant, Bentley, which is really out of this world. And then you have the vegetarian restaurant in Potts Point, Yellow, and also their wine bar, Monopole. And with such a big mix, and all of them just outstanding value for money, as well as delivering high on our expectations as diners, Brent was just actually a really easy choice for us actually in the end, because all 4 of those restaurants have been outstanding this year.
And how does the system work? What do restaurants need to achieve to take home the top place or even be in the top 5 or 10?
Well, it's a good question because we all do enjoy restaurants for different reasons. But, the best restaurant is one that from the moment you walk in the door to the moment you leave, you've had the night, a great night out. And we go to restaurants not to worship at the altar of chefs, although we do like celebrity chefs. But we go there to have fun with our friends. And the best restaurants are those that nail their service, have really delicious food, really great times, an accessible wine list, and a really high perception of value. That when we leave, we feel like no matter how much we've spent, whether it's $50 or $300, that it was worth our money. And, you know, if you can sort of get that full circle, the restaurants have got a good chance of getting in the top 10.
And what about the restaurant that had the best, I guess, bang for their buck, the best bargain that made the top ranks?
Yeah, it's a great restaurant out at Canterbury. It's just on Canterbury Road, pretty unassuming. You'd never know it was there unless you knew it was there. It's called Pazar Food Collective. And Attila Yilmaz is the chef there. He's actually an ex-policeman who turned to food for a bit of peace in his life. And now he's running a restaurant. I'm not sure if that's the right move for that. But his food is a mix of it Turkish with a little hint of Mexican. And it's just a really fun venue, incredible value, and the food is just out of this world delicious.
And just finally, how can people find out more about the Delicious 100?
Yeah, well, the exciting thing about this is we've been eating all year and to create our top 100, but consumers can actually vote for theirs as well at dailytelegraph.com.au/delicious100, and they can vote and tell us who they think is their best restaurant, and they'll go into the draw to win a dinner with Matt Preston, of all people. And I've had dinner with Matt Preston, and I can tell you, you need pants on with a forgiving elastic and your dancing boots on as well.
I tell you what, that would entice many people. That is awesome. And certainly you've given me quite a lot of inspiration for myself here in Sydney as well. Delicious restaurant critic Anthony Huckstep. I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me.